Hey everybody, welcome to Cult Fiction. This is the much anticipated samurai episode. We're going to be talking about the first few episodes of Shogun. We've got 3 episodes down of the new Hulu series of Shogun, and then we're going to do an over/under on samurais in general. So let's start straight out with Shogun. I would very much like to start with Gus today because I want to hear what you have to say, sir, about this show.
I love it. It's so good. Now, okay, so the first episode, I was a little iffy on it because I thought that because it feels like a foreign flick to me, right? There's so much like Japanese in it. I'm, oh man, I'm gonna get bogged down and I'm gonna focus too much on reading the story and not enough on what's going on. And it didn't happen at all. Like, it didn't happen at all. And it's super legit. I'm digging it. I'm digging all the characters. I'm I'm liking all the intrigue. I I'm hoping it stays true and good. And
Did you read the book, by the way? The Clavell's Shogun?
uh
No?
no.
Okay. All right. So yeah, this is already pretty different from the original miniseries. Obviously, that came out in like what, 1980, something like that. Um, that's cool, man. I'm glad that you're digging it. I want to go to Bueller, and then I'll go third. Go ahead, sir.
Well, it's funny that you bring up the book. The limited amount that I've looked into this series, I've seen a lot of people online commenting about how true to the book it has been so far. But I know nothing about the book. Um, the idea that this gigantic novel was written back in 1975 and now it's coming out is crazy to me. I mean, if you look up buying this thing online too, like I'm sure you can get an abridged version or something, but if you want the full version of Shogun, it's crazy expensive.
Yeah.
Had no idea what I was getting into. I'm kind of digging the fact that it's like in so much Japanese and they're staying true to that. I do subtitles all the time anyway, just because I'm old and I can't hear for shit from all my time in music. So, like, cool, man. I'm down with subtitles. Doesn't bother me. Um, the cast is cool. You see some familiar faces in there and some new faces. A lot of really popular Japanese movie actors that are in there from like actual Japan film
Mhm.
that I'm not super familiar with, but some of the faces still rung out like, oh, I know that guy from somewhere. So it's cool to see them. I think the Spaniard is probably my favorite character so far.
Right. Right.
Dude's fantastic. You have the Protestant guy, the main white guy character. He's cool and all, but that Spaniard dude is like bomb. And then as far as the other guys go, the Japanese actor is the guy who plays Yabu, I think is his name. Uh, his character's pretty dope. I just had it up, and then I lost it, of course.
The gnarly
Kashigi
samurai.
Kashigi Yabu. Kashigi Yabu is his character's name. I like that character a lot too. We are doing the first 3 episodes here. If you haven't seen it, there's probably going to be some spoilers coming up, and I'm going to give away one right now. I thought it was kind of funny in episode 3. Again, written in 1975, and I don't know if this was in the book or not. I didn't read the book, but they had like that total like Star Wars moment of like, should we shoot the garbage? No, let's not shoot the garbage. Don't waste the ammo. In episode 3, when they were checking the carriages, and I was like, this feels like such a trope. But then trying to realizing how old it is, how long ago this was written, it's like, was it a trope in 1975? I have no idea, man. But it was just that part was kind of comedic to me. But everything else I thought has been really fun, enjoyable, just great. And I think one of the things Alex said was in the chat when we first started this, before we started it, was like, is it going to be just a bunch of sword fighting? And it's not. It's not that at all. We've seen a lot of other stuff, but not too much sword play. And man, they've gotten just in 3 episodes. I feel like they've gotten pretty deep into a lot of storyline here.
Right. Yeah, it's like a Japanese Game of Thrones kind of thing going on, you know. There's all
Exactly,
this
exactly.
political movement that's happening. So I agree with you guys so far. I'm really, really enjoying it. One of the things that I think is most striking is the opening credits. I don't know if you guys have actually watched the opening credits,
Oh yeah,
where the
oh
with the
yeah.
rock garden and the Flying Dutchman just kind of cutting through the rock garden. I think that visual is really, really cool, and the mountain coming apart and the Shogun armor being under there. I just think it's really neat. Hiroyuki Sanada, am I pronouncing his name correctly? Does anybody know the guy who plays the main character, or
Sure.
the main Japanese character? He's
You're
been in
that's a good
everything.
one.
he's been in all kinds of stuff, right?
Scorpion.
And yeah, yeah.
Oh, he's Scorpion. That makes sense. All
He's
right.
always quality. Like he always delivers, and he does such a good job in this. I'm glad that they're speaking Japanese, right? Because there's something both regal and extremely intentional about the Japanese language. That I really like. It's part of the aesthetic. It would be a shame if you had all these sets that look so authentic and are so well crafted, and you had a bunch of guys just like, oh yeah, let me tell you, blah blah blah, speaking English. It would really take something away from it, I don't know. I just think that that's really, really cool. So far, the character development is great. I'm not real familiar. I haven't been really familiar with Cosmo Jarvis. That's his name, right? The guy who plays the Englishman. He's been in a bunch of stuff. I just haven't really seen anything that he's done. He's done like a couple of bit parts in some movies that I've seen, but his major products, I haven't seen him act before. So this is my first time really seeing him in a demanding role. I think he's doing a great job. So far, anyway. First 3 episodes, I buy it. I think he's doing solid. And the Japanese woman who is his translator, Anne something is her name. She has a really, really important role, and I feel like she sells it too. Like she's proper, but you can tell that there's a lot going on underneath the surface, My favorite scene so far has been when he drew the map of the world in the sand. Right, when the boss man told him to draw the map, and he talked about how the Portuguese and the Spanish had like basically cut up the new world and said Japan belongs to Portugal, and he got all like pissed about that. I just thought that was a really, really cool scene. So Alex, you and I haven't even talked about this show at all yet. I'm anxious to hear what you have to say.
Well, I think it's, we were talking about it earlier. We don't know how many episodes it is exactly. We think it's 10 or 8, something. So there's still more than half of it to go.
Right.
But going on, the first 3 episodes, I mean, if it maintains this quality throughout the entire miniseries, I mean, this is really just about as good as TV can get.
Right.
And I never saw the original that was from 1980 or whatever. I had seen bits and pieces of it over the years. I think it was on a few times when I was a kid, and I may have watched it for a little while or something.
Right.
But as I recall, Richard Chamberlain, the actor who plays Blackthorn, was very, very much the main character in the original miniseries. He was pretty much like in every scene, and everything is kind of moving with his character as sort of the anchor that pushes everything. And it's really interesting to see how, the character Cosmo Jarvis is very much now part of an ensemble, and he's even like not quite in the background, but pretty close to it. He's kind of being swept in the wave and just sort of like trying to keep his head above the water.
Right.
And,
he's an important character. He's an integral character, but he's not the still center around which the show revolves.
Right. And so we'll see what happens. I'm hoping, because I really like how they're dealing with the language barrier with him and everybody else. I'm hoping he doesn't, like, in the next few episodes, suddenly have this mastery of the Japanese language.
Just learn Japanese, right?
Yeah, at the same time, I have no idea what the time frame is for the series. I mean, if it takes place over 5 or 10 years or something, you learn Japanese, I have no idea. But yeah, it's like we were talking about. What was really fascinating to me was, and I didn't know anything about the show, anything about the story, but going in and there's like all this Christianity happening, like in Japan, and I wasn't expecting that, and I was like kind of surprised. I don't know the history of that, how exactly Japan sort of started to gain a foothold in Christianity gained a foothold in Japan and started to spread among Japanese people, and that's kind of fascinating to me, and I'm kind of hope they kind of go into more detail about how that happened, because I'm completely unfamiliar with it. But so far, like I said, if it keeps it up, even if you were to really press me for some flaws, I could probably bring up a couple of little things that don't really matter.
Right.
Yeah. Like when he's piloting the ship, and they're like letting him pilot the ship and, listening to him, I guess. But it doesn't detract from the overall authenticity of the show, which is really amazing.
I
Because
agree.
the art direction, the performances, the costume, I mean, this is just, it absolutely puts you there in the room in Japan 500 years ago. And just like you said, if they were speaking English, it would like break the illusion
It
completely.
really would. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would not feel right
No,
at all.
Absolutely.
It's interesting that Alex brings up the history of Christianity. I'm sure Eric can touch on it, being the history major of the group. But like, I had the same revelation, I guess, watching it. Like, it just never clicked to me. And then, my girlfriend, she does history as well, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons that Japan like basically shut down their borders for like 200 years because of this, this world invasion that was happening over there." And so it's really cool to see it get touched on in the series, like Alex was saying. But I'll leave that to Eric, man, because that's his
It's
his
his
court,
wheelhouse. Right.
his
Yeah. I mean,
wheelhouse.
if you wanna go down the historic road, Eric, you're certainly welcome to. What do you think?
Well, it's funny because it actually, it also got touched on in Blue Eye Samurai, right? Sorry, I shaved and I have like a hair in my mouth. That's annoying. I just choked that fucker down.
So many jokes.
I know. So Juba already knows I'm not watching it. I made it about 90%, maybe 80% way through the first episode, and I just turned it off. I've realized I don't watch historical stuff for entertainment. I just don't. It's not fun for me. It's like most people in history are terrible. Most of the people in the show are going to be terrible. They killed a baby for like no reason. They boiled a man for no reason. Then they called everybody like, "Oh, you're get the barbarian ship." Oh, the barbarian just boiled up a human being. Did the barbarian just murder a baby? Is that what they did? I'm much better with like shows like Game of Thrones, where it's just like, okay, the dragons and magic and stuff like that. Most people in history are garbage, and that's the shit. So I don't watch westerns. I just, for my entertainment, I don't like cowboys. There were lots of good cowboys, a lot of shitty fucking cowboys. They did a lot of horrible things. A lot of good Indians. A lot of Indians were fucking atrocity machines. Just fucking atrocity machines. So I just, it's not fun for me. The samurai were not cool people. They weren't. And they just weren't.
Yeah.
So I forgot that you had said that you had shut it off. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No.
But I get it.
So
I get it. Right. I get it. It is historically accurate. Although I will say that the whole seppuku thing, they didn't show the baby being murdered. Like, you knew that that's what happened, but I think and the reason that they did that was to show that there was this major gulf between these two cultures, right? They both referred to each other as barbarians, and there's
which in fairness I thought was a cool touch. Like, I thought it was a cool touch because that probably did happen, right? On like, he's like, "Oh, you're a barbarian" in his language, and they're like, "You're a barbarian" in their language. I mean, it's well acted. The budget is on point. It looks beautiful. For people who enjoy this, you're gonna enjoy the shit out of it. It looks amazing. I don't have a bad thing to say about how it's constructed. It looks amazing. It looks well acted. It looks well written. Just for me, for sitting down and wanting to enjoy something, I was kind of like, nah, I can't. I'm not gonna enjoy this. I'm not going to enjoy watching somebody get their head lopped off for no reason. No reason. He stood there and he was like this, and they just cut his head off for no reason.
well, that was
And then
the reason.
About moving on, it's like the rape of Nanking, and like two samurai having a beheading contest where they just went around and cut the heads off of almost 220 Chinese people in the course of an hour for a game, right? They just killed 220 Chinese people for a game. It's not my thing. Give me dragons. Give me music.
Well, all right. We'll
Can
get
I-
through it. And go ahead, Gus. Go ahead.
I want to dovetail off of something that, like Eric's talking about. And I hope this doesn't make me sound like a psycho, but like I actually
Yes.
really
It probably does.
I actually really liked that, like, they beheaded the peasant. Right? I like that was there. I like that they boiled that dude to death because that was some sick shit.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And I like that, like
Real.
that, no, because, and even like the baby thing was pretty rough, right? But like what I really dug was, one, they're sticking to the facts, which so often, and we see it all the time, man, the Hollywood pulls this noble savage bullshit where everything gets redacted, and like the only people that were sons of bitches were, like, you know, the white Europeans, right? And so I actually was really stoked, like, because I wasn't going into it looking for any of that, but I was like, damn, these feudal ass warlords just boiled a motherfucker to death for kicks to terrify the population. Holy shit, they're sticking to their guns. So like, I'm with you on what you're talking about. Like, you don't want to watch it for kicks, but I was shocked.
I respect it. Like, I don't have a negative thing to say about the show. The show looks well acted, you know, well done. It looks like a movie, you know, when you watch it. It's just been a thing of mine for a while. You know, like my wife watches some of these things. She likes period pieces. I've never liked period pieces. She was watching some movie. I think the movie that really made me realize it was several years ago. She was watching some movie like The Two Queens, or I don't know, something with Margot Robbie was like a queen or something. And they wanted to do this. I guess the people wanted to throw doubt on the queen to lower her, like her power. And so they started a rumor, like the aristocrats started a rumor that she was, you know, banging one of her servants or something. And then they basically formed a little mob, the aristocrats, and went up to her room, and they grabbed the servant and they killed him. And then they acted like it was like for her, you know, oh, there's this rumor going around that like you're that he's, you know, banging you. And then they're kind of like, you know, wink, wink, but, you know, we could do this at any time. And it's like, you motherfuckers just like murdered a man for no reason. Like, you know, he didn't do that shit. And you just murdered him. You're garbage. You are garbage people. You know, you got together, started the rumor, and for your own political power, went into the queen's bedroom, grabbed her servant, and murdered him. And then acted like you did her a favor. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. You know?
Right.
And I was like, and he probably did that. And it's like, God damn it. People suck. You know?
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It's
Hang on.
hard for me to like watch a movie or a show where they started out and it's like, here's a guy, right? And like, here's the guy and he's cheating on his wife. Like the first thing you see is he's cheating on his wife, or he's doing like a line of cocaine, or like, you know, he's selling drugs or something. And I'm like, I hate this guy now. Right. I don't want to watch the show. Like, I don't, you know, first thing he does on the screen is this lame thing. And now I'm going to be like, okay, whatever bad stuff happens to you, you deserve.
It's like, remember when we watched fucking Troy and Hector died, and we're like, I don't give a shit about anybody left in this movie. Everybody left.
Right. Everybody else is a dick.
It's selfish and egotistical and just out for themselves. Troy was the only person that was fighting for something other
Hector,
bigger than himself.
Hector,
sorry, who did I say? What did I say?
Troy, it's all right. But yeah, Hector was the only one that was noble.
Yeah.
And so that's hard. And
the rest of this movie.
I think a lot of times when you have a historical drama like this, where the people are shitty on both sides, that the
Right.
story is about the transition. It's about the change that takes place, right? Not necessarily about the characters. Okay, well, we'll see. Maybe you'll change your mind. You'll go back and watch it after
Maybe
we
I will.
finish it.
Yeah.
Maybe you won't. We'll see. Let's
Hey,
do
but that boiled alive scene, dude. That boiled alive scene. Wow, that was
Yeah.
like, ooh, damn.
not
Right.
cool.
And then they himself out so that he doesn't have to,
right.
deal with it. And from what I understand, I have not read the books. From what I understand, that scene takes place over, like, he actually boils over 3 days or some shit like that.
That's
So,
easy.
like,
Yeah, I don't remember that. I remember it was brutal, but I don't remember how long it was. Okay, well, let's do our over under on samurais. There's a lot of samurai products out there, shows and movies, comics, whatever you've got on your mind. Again, start with Gus. What have you got for samurai over under, sir?
All right. My underappreciated, underrated Samurai Jack.
All right.
And it's
Okay.
super
I'm
good.
not in it.
No, see, like, dude, you got to watch it. It's like, I think it's 6 seasons, animated. I'm not going to give too many spoilers away since you haven't watched it, because you need to. And like, you can watch it with the boys too. They totally dig it. Like, it sticks to all of like the good samurai story. Like, there's great characters. Jack's a super cool character. Like, he's just like samurai prince. It's about like right before he like strikes a fatal blow to like the evil the evil warlord who's like a sorcerer. He gets banished into the future where the sorcerer rules. It's great. It's super good. And so they made it. It was really great. It ended, and then it was like a cliffhanger ending, and then they brought it back like 2 or 3 years ago, and there's 8 or 10 episodes that you could finish it out, and it's good, and it goes. It's great. I'm not going to give any spoilers away. Super solid, and definitely worth watching.
All right. Cool.
Overrated. Now this one was super hard because like it's one of my favorite flicks, but like my golden rule on the podcast is even if it hurts, you got to do it. Fuck it. Like, it's the golden rule. Like, it might hurt some other people too. Whatever. Let it rip.
What do you got?
Overrated Kill Bill franchise.
Mm.
And
Dude, that was going to be mine. I'm with
oh,
you.
was it really?
That was,
That
yeah.
hurts. That hurts.
Yeah.
No,
I told Alex before we even started.
That hurts, man. I don't know. You're hurting me. You're hurting
no,
me.
I'm sorry, but like, you know what? I've watched it. I love it. I love so many of the scenes.
So what's overrated about it?
It's not that good of a samurai movie. It's Tarantino's samurai flick where he takes lots of great scenes from lots of great movies. But like, honestly, Bill's overrated. Like, Bill's supposed to be this like, samurai assassin master.
Sure, and they never have a sword fight.
He doesn't do shit. He doesn't do shit, right? The kill team goes to the bride's wedding. He doesn't do shit, right? All these other people are supposed to be super badass, right? Like, some of them are, some of them aren't, but like most are lackluster, right? Like, the bride's master, my pay, something like that. He's cool. That dude's legit, right? There's some great scenes in it, but I think it's overrated. Like, I rewatched it because I like it so much, and I was like, oh, let's see what. And like, there's great scenes, but it just, I don't think so. Like, especially too, where I went through and I wrote down all of my like favorite samurai flicks. It doesn't bring its sword to it.
Well, this is evidence that on our podcast you can be wrong if you choose to. I mean, that's that's one of the rules. If one of your buddies is going to say some wrong shit, you got to let him do it.
Speaks hard truths.
Yeah.
It's evidence that us will speak the hard truth no matter what.
Okay. I don't know. Think you're wrong. But I respect your choice, sir. I respect your choice.
Check it.
Bueller, what do you got, Bueller?
Well, I mean, I'm with Gus on that one. My depth of samurai flicks is about as shallow as a rain puddle, man. So I don't have a lot to go on. But when I thought about it, Kill Bill was my overrated because I couldn't get into it, dude. I never even saw the second one because I wasn't feeling the first one.
Hmm.
Just never really got into it. So I got to say it's overrated because so many people love it. And I don't fault them for it, but for me personally, like I'm like I don't see why. I don't get the appeal of it. It just never flipped that switch for me, man. There were some good runners up, some really good runners up. The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise was there. Uh, the Great Wall with Matt Damon was there.
I don't know if that
Um,
was overrated.
um, I think it might be underrated. Actually,
It was pretty panned.
this is my knowledge. Like I don't have the Wu-Tang knowledge of samurai movies like at all, dude. Like Wu-Tang would be
Okay,
great to ask this
let
question
me
to.
ask a question. Let me ask a question of you and Gus. Did you guys watch kung fu movies growing up?
No, no, I didn't.
Gus, did you watch
I
like
didn't.
Five Deadly Venoms, 34th Chamber of Shaolin, like old
No,
Bruce Lee movies?
watch them as an adult.
But you didn't grow up on them.
No.
Yeah, that might be what it is. It might
I
be what
didn't
it
grow up
is.
on them either at all.
Yeah.
So
We
my underrated, and this is
I'm like living the
obviously.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I grew up watching them, so that's why I'm partial. But I'm sorry, what were you saying, Bueller?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't grow up watching them, but underrated for me is just it's Hit Monkey. It has probably nothing to do with samurai at all, but
Have you
I
seen
really
it?
enjoyed Hit.
Did you watch
Dude,
it?
Hit Monkey's awesome. I love Hit
Okay.
Monkey.
All right.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some samurai stuff in it, so I think
I
it
guess it
counts.
counts. I guess it
Yeah,
counts. Alex. Alex, you go and then I'll go.
So I was telling Joe earlier, I was really trying to think of something I would say that overrated as far as samurai genre and everything goes. And I really couldn't come up with something, not because such an unassailable genre, but it's because there isn't really a whole lot of samurai stuff coming out. There was never a period like the ninjas had in the 80s where they was just like they had their IP just being like pumped out by
Right.
all this different stuff. So like samurai never really had that just sort of gluttony of material coming out. So it seems kind of like everything that comes around to the States is at least pretty decent, you know? So I honestly couldn't pick something that I would say that is overrated. I might be overlooking a few things, Ben, I'm sure I am, but I couldn't really think of one. But as far as my underrated goes, a couple of people here know it's one of my favorite movies. It's 13 Assassins,
Oh, dude,
which,
so
I absolutely love that movie. That's it's directed by, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Takashi Mike, Meek or something like that. He was really
nailed
long.
it, nailed it.
Yeah. He was just well known for doing
Perfect
Nailed it.
pronunciation.
Perfect.
Tadashiki Miwaiko. Well said, sir.
But he had made his name making like really weird horror movies, and I didn't really like those. But 13 Assassins is absolutely, one of the best epic samurai movies you can ever see. It's just
Super good.
13 samurais on a suicide mission to take out an evil lord. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. And it's just like it has such a good setup, and then the payoff is absolutely worth it. It has a bit of a slow build up, but then once the ball drops, it just drops, and it's just absolutely amazing. And so,
Right.
from start to finish, it's a great movie. And for anybody that's at all interested in the samurai genre at all, I would say it's absolutely must watch.
Fair enough. So my over. I thought this was going to be more of an esoteric samurai conversation. I figured you guys were all fans. My overrated is actually Yojimbo, which is an old samurai movie that everybody who talks about samurai movies likes to say is their favorite samurai movie, but it was crappy. It was a crappy movie. Whatever. It was made in like 1960. It was not a good movie, but I think what's his name? Titus Welliver, the guy from Bosch. He says that Yojimbo is his favorite samurai movie. It's a bad movie. It's lame. So I'm torn. I'm really torn here because there's a movie called Shogun Assassin, that is amazing. And it's basically Lone Wolf and Cub, like the comic book series, right? But it's a live action. It's super good, super great, like authentic, old school 80s kung fu movie slash samurai. But there was another movie that I actually think might be the most underrated samurai movie of all time, starring Scott Glenn, the guy who plays Stick in Daredevil, right?
Oh, okay.
So way back in 1982, he did a movie called The Challenge.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Blind Fury.
Blind Fury was, hey, I'm not trying to say anything bad about
Yeah,
Blind Fury. I enjoy Blind
Fury.
Fury. But The Challenge with Scott Glenn is a movie, like you can't even find it on streaming, right? It's super hard to find. But it's great. It's so good, man. He like, it's this regular American dude and he gets like kind of captured and like becomes a samurai over time. Like it's just really, really good. I enjoyed the hell out of that movie and nobody's ever seen it. It's a damn shame because Scott Glenn does a great job. Eric, would you like to chime in on Samurai Over Under, or are you withholding on this?
No, it's fine.
Abstaining.
Oh, I'm gonna say underrated than Blind Fury.
Yeah, Blind
I
Fury was real
fucking-
good, dude. It was real good.
I loved that when I was 10. Um,
Uh,
that lead me to my overrated, the entire genre.
Okay, why?
Boom.
really killing my buzz, bro.
Yeah, no, why?
Just cause it's just overrated. You know, it's just
Man.
overrated.
Now we have to
Just in
fight.
general.
Now I
No.
have to challenge you to a duel.
You have a
The
little boy.
entire Wu-Tang clan wants to kick your ass now.
Yeah, it's just overrated in general. Just the whole genre. Like, ooh, you know what it is? It's because swords are dope. That's what everybody's caught up on. Swords are dope. It's the reason we love Jedi. Jedis are samurais with fucking even cooler swords. Lightsabers are like the coolest weapon in the history of cinema. That's why we love Jedi.
Sure.
That's why we love Jedi.
Well, why else would we love them? It ain't because of their robes. I mean, we love Jedi because they can do magic and they have the best
monks.
swords in the world.
They're warrior monks.
Yeah, they have the single. They have possibly, you know, and that's a discussion we can have. What are the greatest weapons in cinematic history? My
Let's
guess
do that one. Please.
is, if we're all being honest, lightsaber is up there. If it's not one, it's, you know, it's because somebody has a boner for one particular other weapon. But lightsaber is up there, right?
Sure.
And that's what you know. That's why we love Jedi. Swords are fucking dope. Swords are cool. You know.
It reminds
And
me of the
the guy
line from Blue Eye Samurai, where the craftsman, he says, "All metal wants to be a sword."
You know, and that's why you see all these guys. You know, there's like an endless supply of videos where dudes in like sunglasses and trench coats are just like, "Look at my sword," and they're just cutting fucking
watermelons,
like,
yeah, rocking chairs.
You ever want
you know.
Yeah,
And,
okay, whatever. So it's juvenile. Doesn't mean you have to
Yeah,
shit all over it. Damn.
Hey, as a guy who used to have a ninja sword over his TV and a trench coat, yeah, I gotta agree.
I'm
cool.
building a samurai sword.
Cool. They are, look, samurai swords are cool as fuck. They look cool as fuck, but you know, it's like, but there is something juvenile about it. As I say that with literally a case of toy behind me.
Toy shrine.
You know what I mean? So I have to be like introspective, right? You know, but you know, it is what it is.
Hey man, I still have my 1999 eBay special upstairs. Only for the only reason I can't get rid of it safely.
Right.
So.
And that's why, that's why we love it. We love it because we're kids. Like it's still, it really is still like the fucking 13-year-old boy in us who are just like, oh, dude, one dude is gonna go with a samurai sword and fucking just destroy all these people. Yeah, you know, it's just like,
But why is it
Probably
so?
not.
Why is it that we're so interested in that? Like, why do we? For me, I don't disagree with you. I mean, I have to bring a samurai sword over to your house and destroy your toy case now, but still, the thing for me is like it's not like that guy. Well, Eric didn't watch it. The guy that was standing on his own on the dock
Yeah.
at the end of the third episode and like was fighting all those dudes. Um, why do we think that's cool, right? It's like it's the discipline, it's the effectiveness of that person, the training that they've put in. Like the it's not just not anybody can just pick up a sword and swing it around and defeat 20 people.
So if that's what it, and if that's all it was, that's where I'm 100% on board with you.
And it's the same
But
with Jedi. Like the whole thing
Right.
about being a Jedi is that it's hard.
But here's the difference. And I'm about to make only a terrible point if you think about Anakin. Okay? I would say a Jedi wouldn't murder a baby, except for Anakin. But this is where it divides. Their honor system is so fucking ridiculous that's where you lose me. When you will murder yourself and your own baby because you made a faux pas, like, what is your life worth? What is life worth if it's not to, like we had this conversation. Like, it is very weird for me to come to the realization that loving your children is not a universal in all cultures. Right? Protecting and loving your children and dying for your children is not a universal in all cultures. Some cultures will sacrifice their children, martyr their children, kill their children for their honor. And that's where you lose me.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's about skill, if it's about badass weaponry, if it's about all that kind of stuff, dude, samurais are dope. If it's about what you will sacrifice for your honor, including your children, you lose me there. And that's where a Jedi is like fucking way doper.
Okay. All right.
A Jedi wouldn't kill, aside from Anakin, a Jedi wouldn't kill a child, a baby,
Right.
for that type of thing.
All right, so we've determined that Jedi are cooler than samurai. I think I can get on board with that. Anybody else got something to say about samurai before we call it? No, we're good. All right. Thanks for joining us. This has been the samurai episode of Cult Fiction. Take care, everybody.